That, I mean, not that you've got the English there, but that would be the translation, okay? So the fact remains, if you are saying something in French, and often you might not even be coming from your English, you might just be going straight to it in the French. He's not saying that on one occasion, okay, these adverts promised. So last night, these adverts promised me. Okay, he's not referring to the action and throwing it away. He's describing what they were like. These adverts, what were they like? They were very promising. I mean, you could even use it as an adjective. They were very promising. Description. So they promised a lot. Okay, it's not last night at 8 o'clock. Luke promised to take me with him around the world on a trip. You bring the food, I'll bring the booze. None of that at all. It's just a description. So these announcements promised whatever. So it all comes down to the fact that you shouldn't be nervous of your own language. You shouldn't be nervous of English. You should be very much aware that what does promised mean in English? It doesn't necessarily take you one way or the other. So in other words, it's not these announcements promised and there was a point in time at which they did that. It's when you look back at these adverts, what were they like? Well, they promised lots of things. It's like a description of what they were like. It's not you're not referring to a singular event, a moment taking place, regardless of how long that takes place. So, if you look at the rest of the example, so I keep saying he. Look at the sentence. The announcements that she read. So she read, okay, is going to be an action because that happened. There's a moment when. Now you could quite happily say the announcements qu'elle lisait in the imperfect, meaning the announcements that she used to read or that she read regularly. Like, you know, when in that stage of her life, she was looking for somewhere to live, and the announcements that she was reading, you know, regularly used to. You know, in which case that would be elle lisait, but this elle a lu is telling me that it's an action. It's a singular action, okay, that she read. People are confused by the word action because they're like, oh, well, I was running, that's action. What I mean by an action, I mean is you are referring to something taking place in one go and then it's done. It doesn't matter how long it lasts, it doesn't matter how quickly it took place, you are saying this happened. Throw it away. You are not saying this was happening, this used to happen, or this happened regularly, or while this was happening. It's just throw it away. Another idea is if you can pop it in a list. I woke up, I washed my hair. Okay? So listen to how the past all tends to use ed in English. I woke up, I washed my hair, it looked like shit. The fact is, two of those are actions, and one of those is a description. Okay, so the description one would be in this tense. So I woke up, je me suis réveillé. I washed my hair, je me suis lavé les cheveux. I washed myself the hair. It looked like shit is a description. Okay, c'était de la merde. Okay, so that would be the was. Okay, it was a bit dry. You know, ils étaient un peu sèches. Pardon, un peu sec. Séché is too dry hair. Un peu sec because hair is masculine. So, yeah. So that would be the thing. So if you look at the rest of the thing that he said, that Jonah sent, the woman has a combination of actions and descriptions. So she read the newspaper. By the way, there's an E and an S after lu because annonce is feminine singular in this sentence. Promised a lot, okay? But the apartments that she saw, so again, the seeing of the apartments. Now, you might go, but Luke, what if she saw the apartments on more than one occasion? Why is that elle a vu? That's not a singular action. We're not on about the fact that it was one go. We're on about the fact that it's just you are throwing that sentence away. She saw the apartments, job done. Okay? Could have been 2 trips made up seeing those apartments, but you're just throwing the sentence away. I saw some apartments last week. It could have been on the Monday and on the Thursday. J'ai vu quelques appartements. Okay? So you're throwing that sentence away. You're saying that that's an action that's happened. You're not giving it any more information than that, Jonah. So, mais les appartements qu'elle a vus. Again, there's an S on the end of it because apartments is masculine. So you've got the complément direct, the previous direct object. N'était pas, careful, that needs an AINT. Very pretty. Okay, that's a description. They weren't very pretty. So why is promettre the imparfait? Well, Jonah we've talked about why, but if you wanted to stick it in one of my rules, it's because it's a description. It's not an action taking place. Luc promised me last night we were going to see the world. That's an action taking place. Luc m'a promis. Okay. The announcement promised is weird English anyway, but the announcements were promised a lot. It's not like at one moment did that take place, or you're not looking back on it in one way. You are saying throughout the period of their existence, that's what they did. So I can understand why it's tricky for you, because the English that it goes into is a bit fucking weird, let's be honest, Jonah. But I hope that kind of makes slightly more sense. So to round up, guys, if you are stuck between which tense to use in your past, listen to the following rules. If you have a have or a has, use the passé composé. If you have a was, were, used to, 95% of the time, use the imperfect. Obviously, we're not talking about had here. Luc had eaten, Luc had gone, Luc had washed, which is obviously the pluperfect. That's different. Luc avait mangé, Luc était lavé, Luc, what did I say? Luc, no, what am I saying? Luc avait mangé, Luc était allé, Luc s'était lavé. I can't remember what I was saying. It's been a long week. But the fact is, you would also then, if you really are at a loss, look at this light bulb thing. I loved, when Luc showed me the photographs, I loved them, okay? That's like an action taking place. I suddenly loved them, yeah? Je les ai aimés, okay? When I was younger, my grandpa, used to show me photographs of when he was in the war, and I loved them, yeah? Je les aimais. Okay, that's like repetition. I used to do that. Even if it weren't repetition, if it was like you were talking about something last week and you said, what did you think of the film? Okay, what did you think of the film? And you said, oh, I loved it, je l'ai aimé. Okay, je l'ai adoré. Okay, then that's basically saying that was my reaction to the film. Okay, it could be one period of your life and you're saying, oh, I loved this film when I was younger. Yeah, I used to love this film when I was younger. J'adorais. Yeah, or j'aimais ce film quand j'étais plus jeune. Because it's referring to that period of your life and it's a used to. So, in other words, between the was, were, used to method, between the light bulb method, as in if you've got a light bulb coming on or off, a change taking place, it's going to be the passé composé. If a light bulb is permanently on, permanently off, and you're describing it, it's going to be the imparfait. Between the, after the word if, repetition, mental state versus mental action, as in I understood, mental action versus yeah, I understood. Between those things, I think you've got a pretty good idea of which of the two tenses you should be using. The final thing I would say to you is this, just a little side note. Remember that if you are jumping between these two tenses, adverbs are going to be a pain in the bottom for you. So, for example, I used to eat a lot, je mangeais beaucoup. So we've got a promettre beaucoup there. I ate a lot, j'ai beaucoup mangé. The adverb will jump around. Yeah, I ate nothing. In those days, je ne mangeais rien. I ate nothing, as in I didn't eat anything, as an action, je n'ai rien mangé. So that's another little thing I'd say to be aware of. All right. I hope this hasn't bored the pants off you. I always say boredom happens when you understand the rules. So if you don't understand the rules, you're gripping onto every word I'm saying, desperate to understand which of the two tenses you need. If you really struggle between the imperfect and the passé composé, I have done videos like this before. I'm more than happy to do it again. If enough people underneath say, please Luke, could you do one? I would do an example video where I just basically take 25, 35, 45 sentences, all with the single word in the past in English, and I will then shove that all into whichever the appropriate past tense is, explaining why. Okay, so if you want that video done, you need to write to me either in an email or in the comments underneath saying, Luke, how would you translate this? And if I honestly feel the version that you've said isn't something you can explain with what I've done in this video, I will deal with it. So if you've like, Luke, how would you say, when I was little, I rode ponies or something? And I'd say, listen to the video. Could you also turn that into I used to ride ponies? There you go. That tells you the imperfect. Or repetition, you used to ride ponies quite a lot, so there's repetition. There you go. That's telling you the imperfect. If you send me an example that you generally don't understand from having watched the video, so I don't do laziness, then I will happily do you the video. All right. Best wishes, guys. Loads of love. If you've enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the channel, please subscribe, please click like, and remember that I do have grammar podcasts which discuss all of this, which are available. Please email me at logiclanguagelearning@gmail.com. All right, guys. Best wishes.